We are continuing on Mesechet Avodah Zarah, and we are, Be'ezer Hashem, is starting the last Perek Chamishi, Asocher et HaPoel, on Daf Samech Bet, Amud Aleph, the top of the Amud. Today's Amud is being learned, Neschut Refuah Shelema, of Rachel Simcha Bat Nahid, full recovery, Refuah Shelema, Amen. Amen. So the Meiri writes that this Perek is going to speak about the remnants of the halachot of Yain Nesech. Now finally we're going to bring this to some sort of closure with all of the halachot that, technically speaking, we deal with them on daily basis of having maids and dealing with simchas when you have bartenders and mebushel wine, non-mebushel wine. You know, if they moved it, they shook it, they opened the fridge and it was in the door of the fridge. And all those things that you have, the bottle was closed, it was half closed, it was open, but they didn't really move. If I was not home and the maid was home and I don't know if she touched it, all these things that we have been discussing for several pages already is going to come to some sort of maskana in this perek, and we're going to Be'ezrat Hashem. We have been waiting for having the discussions of halachic items. You know, where you get wines for holidays from co-workers. Is it mutar to give it non-kosher wine? Is considered Yain Nesech? Is it mutar to give it to somebody else? Do you have to pour it down the toilet? What exactly happens with all those halachot? For Sfaradim is one way, for Ashkenazim perhaps is a different way. All of those, Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to be discussing. And also we have two very important areas of halacha additional to Yain Nesech in this perek, and that is Tevilat Kelim. All the halachot of Tevilat Kelim, that when you buy a new vessel, you have to dunk it in the mikveh, and what happens with the electronics and digital, slow cookers and coffee machines and all those things that we have, Baruch Hashem, nowadays. How about if it's a plug-in, it's too big, if it's going to break when I dunk it, Teflon, all those things that Jewish-made pans that are disposable, all those things we're going to discuss in this perek. And also, of course, upcoming Pesach, we have all the halachot of Siman Tav Nun Aleph and Kuf Chav Aleph of Orach Chaim and Yoreh De'ah of Haga'alat Kelim, Hechsher Kelim. I have a treif kli, I messed up in kashrut, or I'm going to somebody's house, or to an Airbnb. How do you kosherize items? All of those halachot are also here in our, it's again partially in Psachim, but mainly in our sugya here in Avodah Zarah, the 5th perek as well. So it's going to be an action-packed perek, a lot of very interesting, very relevant items in halacha. So with that said, we're going to start the Mishnah. Hasocher et hapoel la'asot imo beyain nesech secharo asur. There is a very interesting, unique halacha when it comes to Yain Nesech, that when you work with a person, a goy, that hired you to deal with his Yain Nesech. We're dealing with actual Yain Nesech. That means the goy is a certified, authentic Oved Avodah Zarah, and he literally took the wine and poured it L'Shem Yichud Avodah Zarah, right? And now, in his business of doing Avodah Zarah, he hired you to do stuff for him. Move this wine from here to there, bottle the wines, right? You put on a holy wine, right? Like Kabbalah Center over here, they had like every parasha had its own water, right? And you send it out. That's handling a wine of actual Yain Nesech. And if you are hired by a goy to do that, now the money that you got is asur. You want to make a donation to KBT? No way, right? The money is asur by itself. The money is asur by itself. Now, you don't have this, as the Gemara is going to develop this, you don't see this necessarily by other isurim. There are a preface to this Perek, to this Mishnah rather. There is differentiation to be made between Sachar and, which means the payment I get for working with something, and Temura, which is if I sell this and the money of the thing itself, that would be the money that I got payment for selling it. So there's sale and then there is working. Those are two different things. Working means you hire me to move this from point A to point B, you pay me some money. It has nothing to do with this by itself. And payment of Temura means I sell this and the money of it is Asur or Mutar, right? So we are not talking about selling Yain Nesech and the money that you receive, but rather I was just paid to do like Uber Eats, right? I did Yain Nesech from point A to point B, you pay me for my work, and that money, says the Mishnah, is Asur Ba'ana. You cannot use that money that was earned from working with Yain Nesech. Fine. Says the Gemara, but if the goy hired the Jew to do something else, so come build my wall, whatever else that's mutar, or move my barrels of shemin, of oil, right? Even though that within the work he also told you, also take this, you carried all these 99 barrels of shemin, of oil. I also have a barrel of wine over here. Take it from point A to point B. That, says the Mishnah, is mutar. Because that wasn't the description of your work, really. So even though that he actually asked you to do work with Yain Nesech, the money that you got from it is mutar. Now, this is very odd, because what's the difference? Who cares that at the end you told me to do it? At the end of the day, I worked with Yain Nesech and I got payment. You just told me, literally in the previous line, that if I work with Yain Nesech, the schar that I get is asur. Now, we still have to understand why, but what's the difference between the first line of the Mishnah and the second line of the Mishnah? If I want to, the Gemara, in later Dapim, Gemara explains this to be machloket, Abaye and Rava. I'm just going to give you permission, jump the gun, to understand what we're talking about, and we'll develop it when we get to. The Gemara says, Abaye holds that this is only if my time, I clocked out already. I was hired a 9 to 5 job, good old days in America, and I hit 5 o'clock, and then he says, oh, by the way, can you move this also from there? I would have gotten $100 without doing this. So therefore, even if I did it, even though that was part of my body to do, still mutar. That's what Abai says. Rasa, no, even if it was between 9 to 5, still is mutar, but here is the cash, says Rava. That's only if he tells me, I'm you to carry different bottles, different boxes, containers from my storage to my other storage. And every barrel that you carry, it's $1. So I did 99 barrels of shemen, of oil,